Ladies and gentlemen, I come to you today to raise a moral questions and probably a legal question or legal questions that we hope that the U.S. Congress and possibly the our Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court, we have to answer um, as a matter of legality of some of the things we have seen that I know I have spoken about some couple of times. And this focus on the impacts, the effects of the tech industry abuse of the capacity and the ability of computers and information technology today, and especially in the way the algorithm is written. And I have both prophesied as a prophet about things I had seen that is dangerous and that we have a very dangerous effect upon the civilization, Western civilization, and the technology of our government and leadership, which is the democracy. As a democratic, a forebearer and a forerunner of democratic democracy in nations and democracy, an institutional democracy or constitutional democracy. I think it's better to say constitutional democracy. And I'm sure probably people have forgotten the prophecy I gave about what I saw in 2017, early 2017 or thereabouts, regarding the impact of the meddling interference of the technology industry in the United States election, and that was before the 2018. And but I think at the time President Trump didn't take that serious because after the prophecy, he did call a meeting at some point for tech industry CEOs, and they thought they had a good understanding. But I think the 2018 election was the eye opener to what we have going on. And now we have a new Congress, and we say we're going to be watching to see what the Congress is going to do, whether the Congress is going to take the step to protect the American people from the kind of abuses that is happening in the tech industry today. Take, for example, the terms of service that most of them hide under, which most consumers do not read. And I have spoken about this for many times too. And the question is whether these terms of service and whether somebody accepted it or not. At the time, I raised the question on the moral question and regarding the privacy of the American people and, in fact, the entire population of the world in the way they still use covet. The law says, "Thou shalt not covet your neighbor's property." But the way they covet the data that belongs to people and even covet their own device and things like that, whether it is unconstitutional, whether it is legal. And I've already spoken about the issue, the legal issue of unconscionability. These terms of service that many of them hide into thinking by changing it, that makes it legal or right, is need to be answered by the United States Supreme Court whether that is legal. Because under unconscionability, I have my doubts because when you come in the way the Lord and in the way God looks at the free will that God has given to man, and even in the issue of property as a central and substantive element of any particular economic system, whether it is at individual level or at any level at all. You see, this is a Samsung phone that I have in my hand, and this phone is mine, and if this phone is already been paid for, or even the device, the computer that I am using to make these videos is paid for and is owned, and they keep this surreptitious ways. Now they have gone to the point that they force you to agree to their terms of service without any option to opt out or any alternative. The legal question that we want the United States Congress and the United States Supreme Court to answer for us, the American people, is this. When 10, 20 years ago, when you buy a laptop or a phone, you buy them with the software, the operating system, and the software that comes with it. If you don't have the software, you can buy software in a disk and install it, and you can keep the disk in case something happens to it. So you pay for it, and the license is for you to use it for its entire lifetime. These things used to last longer. There, because the warranty covers probably 3 years, and you can always buy an additional years to warranty. But as long as you have that device and that device is working, you own it, it is yours, and so are the license that operate and make the system run. This thing has gone away. It is pure robbery, and it is very immoral in the system they have done and put up for the people of the world today, where you subscribe that you don't own the property. How can you pay for a property but you don't own it? Somebody else owns the property that you paid for. And how is that legal, and how is that moral? That even though I have this phone, it's no longer my phone because somebody else has control over it. Somebody have control how I use what I can use. They can use algorithm to target you personally. For those of you who don't share their values and don't agree with them, they can target your phone and can even disable your phone. They can target you and install the operating system in your own phone and manipulate it to just only be working that way for you when it's not working the same for every other person. Where is the equity in law? How can somebody, you guys lawyers, yeah, I went to law school, but I'm not a lawyer, but some kind of lawyers and people, especially the US Congress, the purpose of changing the US Congress was the absurdity that we have seen in the illegality and the deceit and lies and things that makes them look like they are no longer a representative of the people, not longer a government representing people, or rather no longer the people ruling their life through the representative of their choice anymore, because some kind of system, the media and the technology have hijacked the elected government and to do their will and be their will with the kind of things we're hearing now. Of course, we was prophesied then, and a lot of people didn't believe what we were saying, but look at Twitter files and look at all the things we're hearing happening. Government, a United States government, become an instrumentality and a stronghold against its own citizen. That is absurd. How do we go around the world and make the case and come to talk about democracy when we have our own government undermining our own democratic systems? Democracy in economic activities and economic systems that we have, and in which case that some people are being targeted and being undermined. When you look at their terms and the agreement, especially the option, they now give the people no option. You must, even though that the laptop is mine, but when they do their update, and when they, even if I buy it new and they give you the options that you cannot be able to opt out, so you must agree to their own terms of service. And that terms of service that you must agree doesn't give you the option to even uncheck some of the on terms of the service, especially in the privacy area, and things that they can do with the device. So you must force somebody to agree that after some time, say for example, they can set the sunset for this device because they have made it to last for a year. So after that 1 year, then they will not update the system anymore. so that you will no longer use it. So they now force you to buy. It's like forcing people to create demand for themselves for the sake of money. So we live to contribute to take money from the people, that something that could have lasted for 3 5 years will no longer last for 3 5 years because they have designed it to expire after a year or two. How is that moral? How is that legal? That if I own this phone, that someone else controls it? They have changed the terms of service and forced you to agree to it, that they will be selling to you an advertisement that you can no longer have your privacy. So if I pick up my phone, the moment they see that a hand has picked up the phone, they will start to project and send you advertisement on your personal phone, whether you like it or not. The same thing on your computer. They are putting advertisement on personal computers. Whether it's even against your will, whether it is the kind of message you don't like, you have no control over. And they will say you can go and find a way to turn. Have you tried to turn off some of those things? Where they will use the same white, they will use white background and create the information so that you will not even see the link, even when you have some businesses that offer that option. So you use a white font on a document that is on a white background. Those surreptitious and secret and hidden ways of making things not apparent, not clear, just like the terms of the agreements that are very ambiguous and voluminous, that is impossible for anybody to read and understand. These are the kind of things that bothers me. The things that bothers on the abuse of power by infringing on the liberty and the freedom that comes from God, that only God has given to man. The freedom and what about people's choices? You don't have a choice no more. So you just have to agree to their own terms and conditions, or you cannot consider the intricacy and how the every activities of humanity today revolves around internet, for example. Look at, for example, this phone. There are people that operate their business on their phone. That is all they have. So it's very difficult to separate these devices today to their daily activities of living of every human being. And then somebody else controls those things because they have already changed one or two things somewhere and have put in some kind of terms or conditions somewhere that gives them authority, that they can decide to turn this off, they can decide to turn the apps off, they decide whether you are connected or not, whether you can use it or not. They have control over something I have paid that is mine. It didn't own a dime on it. It's my property. And this is my property. And let's look at this for a lot of people who the only thing they have that is worth a value in their life may be that one smartphone. That is all they have that is worth anything. And somebody else is using it and controlling it and barraging them and finding a way to pick up nickels and dime from the people. How is that morally right? How is that legally? How can that be legal that I own this but I don't own it because it's operating on somebody's software? Well, did I not buy it to be able to use it and the license to use those things and not to be bothered, not to be attacked, not to be denied the service, denial of service or anything at all, not to be manipulated in a way, even if by the instrumentality of any of the agencies of our government? How did America get to this point? And how did we, the people, allow our government to get to the point that they are not only controlling the public sphere like Twitter? Thank God somebody who had the sense and the resources to be able to restore this Twitter from them. Everything is no longer in the public sphere and social media, that they have gone even to all the devices that we have. We cannot live our life like they are God, that anywhere you are, they will find you and they will control you, they will manipulate you, they will obstruct you, they will deny you, they will attack you, they will listen to you, they will monitor you, they will surveil you, they will do anything that is possible for them to do to anybody that they want. And we have. and we say we have a government. Even a government doing that is so repugnant to the American people that in our constitution, the founders made this thing impossible. How is this possible? How is that legal? I bought a book, for example, in Amazon, and I tried to download the book as I used to download a digital book on my computer as a PDF and read, and I realized that I couldn't do that anymore. Instead, you can only download to a Kindle, which means that in order for you to buy a book, you may only have $7 or $5 to buy a book. You must buy a Kindle that costs $100 in order to download it on a device for you to read. Otherwise, you have to log in to Amazon in order to read your book. So what if there is no connectivity? What about all the third world countries that have no connectivity to internet? What about poor people that cannot afford to have connections on their device? I was so sick. I didn't know when I bought the book. And then eventually I realized I cannot download it unless I send it to my Kindle. I took my Kindle, I gave it away in protest. You cannot force me to download a book I paid for the price that was advertised to your own product by buying another of your product instead of downloading it on my computer as I used to. How is that moral and how is that legal? How did we get to the point that people and businesses and tech industries are forcing people on a demand, depriving people their meager resources and impoverishing people? And I had children, teenagers are being targeted by apples that they say that everything you can use, even the product, because very soon, before you know what happened, they download all and put all kinds of things to fill up the storage space on the phones. These phones, if you cannot afford to buy big space, they will fill it up with all kinds of junks. You download one video. One long video that lost an hour is already 1 GB. By the time you know what happened, they gotta be paying money. They are collecting tax, a toll on high school and middle school kids, children. That even the small, they get their stipends, those that work to earn what they call a token for good behaviors, the $5, $7, $10, they take it away from them. So it's not only they're targeting businesses and people and adults, they're targeting children just for profit. What kind of society have we created? What kind of world do you think we can be? Look at what is happening with cloud technology. In cloud technology is a good technology for storage, but is it not up to me to decide if I want my thing to be stored in the cloud? Why should all these businesses that come, they steal and automatically they say you have somewhere you can turn it off after they've already automatically by default want to upload and take your property, your audio, your video, your files, your documents, anything that is on your computer they want to store. Who gives them the right to take what is mine and my property, your property, people's property, and put it in the cloud to be a gate man and a security man, or we don't know what we want, we can't store and manage our own property, that we must surrender them to some kind of technological company by force to store for us. Then before you know what happened, just like the free emails they give to people, before you know what happened, they fill it up with all kinds of junk so that you can come back and buy the storage space, forcing demand in order to make money. Remember, there was a prophecy about this a long time when I first came to my knowledge. And I prayed about it, and the Lord said that it will be a bad idea because it will end up being a problem that is going to lead to turn the consumers off, and they're going to lose whatever money they make out of all those illegal means. Look at things like subscription. Do you know businesses now subscribe you? They will register you, subscribe you to something, and then 30 days later, they will take the money out of your account. That's what, look at what is happening. They collect every information and financial information. The moment you buy anything online, they want to save your card because they want to save it and find a way to steal money from people and take money from people. different kind of things. You can't even print anymore on your own computer because you must have to connect to some kind of online that collect all this data. What has our government, for the sake of our national security, done to protect us, the American people, from all these people? It's like scavengers. They take anything they can take that is not theirs, and they now come back and control it. It's like hackers and ATPs, those that want to take people's and seize people's computer and then come and blackmail you. You got to pay money in order for them to give it back to you. How in the world did we allow this to happen? And we have no law to protect the consumers and protect the American people from this kind of scavengers. It's like Satan flying the earth looking for souls to devour. Where is the property rights? My right to have this computer and decide what I do with it and how I manage it. Why can't they just, or some kind of company, build computers and phones where those options could be available somewhere in the system? When we want it, we can go there and subscribe. We can go there and buy. We can go there and look. Just like we'll search for things online. Now everything is by force. I don't know what the world is looking for. If there is no more respect for choice, for free will, God-given free will, even God do not force himself on the free will of a man because he's already given it unto every human. That's why he doesn't force himself on nobody. He allows you to invite him in your life and open yourself up and your heart for him to come in. Even though he's God, he created you and can do anything with you. Now, we got people and businesses forcing themselves in everybody's life, taking what belongs to humanities, to humans, to people, because they know they cannot do without these things because they used to. Try to take away this device from any of the teenagers and young people and see whether they will not even kill you trying to take away their device. So there is so much attached to it. It is everything and all their life is in it. So the intricacy of this alone makes it unconscionable for anybody to interfere with that, with any whatever their terms of agreement is. God do not abuse his power, neither does he abuse his knowledge and his extreme and immeasurable power over everything that he has created. Imagine if God decides to treat and use the same cup and the same measure they use to measure to other people by these companies, Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon, Google in particular. The essential nature and significance of Google in the whole life of human and all over the earth. If it doesn't make anybody sick, then I don't know what we are anymore. Makes me sometimes wonder, are we still Americans? That we could allow and put up a government that is in bed with all these people that cause this kind of havoc, tearing and destroying people's life and picking and choosing winners and those that agree and don't agree with them. It is so un-American that it makes me sick to that. That's why I have turned away from just being bothered by some of this things so that people can be able to suffer what they have brought upon themselves. But the Lord had put in my mind the last time I said that He came to me and said, you have kind of been neglecting to be the watch I have told you to watch regarding the US Congress. But this new Congress, we don't know where they are going either. My people, this is the word for you, and it is your word. But what you make out of it is what you will receive. And that's what God is definitely showing to do. But we are watching. We are watching some of those CEOs and some of these executives and founders of this company, just as they come to take our properties, take our data, take our information, try to control our life, control our device, block our device, deny us access to things that is commonly used, and pick and choose who should have access to which. This earth is made by God, And the same way the law, the day we will get to the point when we begin to bring charges against them and begin to bring them before God who has created them and their life and bless them with all these businesses and all these abilities and the skills and the things they are doing, and use the same way to measure for them in the divine court, in the supreme court of heaven. That is when they will begin to decide whether we begin to tear down and take away whatever that belong to them, tearing down their lives, their family, and everything they own, and even their own life, because they have gone too far away with the things they are doing to the people around the world. I just wanted to share this message as a last warning, and I hope they will hear it and cease and desist from this wicked and evil misconduct and unethical behaviors.